Looking for a single transportation service to handle all of your transportation and logistics needs? LCG Logistics is backed by years of exceptional on-time delivery and is uniquely qualified to provide the coverage you need at the right price. Based in Ohio, we provide dedicated fleet service throughout 48 states and Canada. LCG Logistics is small enough to care and large enough to handle your shipping properly. Call 614-272-4052. LCG Logistics, your single source transportation supplier.
Israel is 5,690 miles away from the U.S., 11 hours by plane. Hate travels faster. In a comment, in a post, in a second. Jewish hate is up 388% in the U.S. Black hate, Muslim hate, and Asian hate are up too. When one hate rises, they all do. Let's stand up to all hate together. Share and wear the blue square from standuptojewishhate.org.
What's up, y'all? This is Neena Perez, and this is Straight Talk, No Sugar Added. And I know that you are here to listen to the best humans on the planet to grow, challenge, and transform your thinking. Let's do this. But I wanted to introduce you to Miranda Mitchell. I am super stoked to talk to her. She is an embodied leadership guide that supports conscious leaders and entrepreneurs move away from the status quo and step into authenticity in their business and life. Hello, what I love the most. So she believes that the conditioning that we all have been carrying around with us throughout our lives has limited us, girl, that is so true, in the impact and the fulfilling life that we all deserve and that we can have. And so as you guys know, as a transformational life coach, this is my thing. I love this. I love this. So I do want to dig into that with you because I think it's something that everybody's moving away from all this status quo stuff, seriously. And people are done with the garbage out there, right? In social media. At least I know that I am, and the women that I work with are. They're trying to find who they are, like this authenticity of that, right? So Miranda, welcome to Straight Talk. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. And I love the Straight Talk. I'm like, oh, this is yes. This is yes.
Yeah. This is definitely a yes. So let's start off getting to know you. Like, who is Miranda? Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, like you said, I'm an embodied leadership coach or guide, and there's so much to me. I have lived many lives in this life, and it started when, I guess I can start a little bit when I was younger. Mm-hmm. I really struggled a lot with who I was. I didn't know who I was. I didn't like who I was, honestly. I lived in Vermont, and we were very poor at that time. And I moved out when I was 14 because I wanted to get away. And at that point in time, I actually partied. 14 years old, of course, that's what I'm going to be doing. And I partied, I drank, I did all the things to prove to myself that I wasn't valuable, that I wasn't worthy. And I continued that way for years and years until I ended up getting pregnant and having my son. And then at that point in time, there was a purpose. So for me, I wasn't enough to be a purpose. I didn't love myself. I didn't value myself. I did not have a great relationship with my mother at all, and we still don't. But I had consistently been choosing and making decisions that kept proving to myself that I wasn't valuable and I didn't matter, right? And then I continued, and as I grew older, I got married and I had my other son, and you continue those things. So the marriage didn't work. It was abusive, and it was an abusive marriage. So I got us out, my kids and myself out. And at that point in time, I started making choices that were better for myself. So I started taking yoga. I started slowing down. I started to release the conditioning of who I should be. And I actually started to value myself in some way. And this is just a long story about what I do now, because now I look back on my life and I realize that the way that I was being and the way that I valued myself created my life. It truly did. And since I've been learning human design and these different modalities and releasing all of those things that I thought were me or I didn't know was me, or that is me, that I was trying to say was wrong, I totally switched my life around. And it is full of love, full of there's just so much goodness in life right now. And the reason I do this is because, so many people are stuck in conditioning. They look externally for love. They look externally for value. They look externally for everything. But when you start to look internal, that external doesn't even matter.
So
And then
true.
you attract the people to you that love you.
Right. Isn't that something too when that happens, when you get that epiphany, like what in the world was I doing for so long? Right. Well, can I ask you how old you were when you had your first son?
21.
Okay, so yeah, you were fairly young, right? You were getting into your 20s. And
Mhm.
it's difficult. It's something like magical too that happens because when we're young mothers, I was very young. I was 15 when I had my first son. But he did give me purpose the same. And I realized that we do have a really really big capacity for love even though we're going through the tough times. Right? And
Mhm.
it's beautiful, that you've gotten to this place now where you're like, "Well, let me love me too." So, was that like, was there like a low, low moment that kinda like made you look up and say, "Okay, I can't no more." So what was that moment for you?
Well, the first moment that I actually said no more is when I got out of my abusive
Mhm.
relationship. I was trapped in that relationship. I had to plan for a whole year to get out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, he controlled everything. So that was for the boys, though. That was not for
Mhm.
me.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Then, as I started doing more so and having more time on my own, and I finally had the boys away from him and myself away from him, I realized actually someone questioned me and asked me, so what is it that made you go, like, what are the things that you had to deal with, and what did you do to leave that experience, and why? And I said, I thought, and I was like, you know what? I used to, and this still gets to me. I used to ask him to wait until the boys were asleep,
Mhm.
and I would be quiet.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
wouldn't.
Right.
And when that came up, I was like, wow, like I didn't value myself at
Mhm.
all. And when I realized that, that was a switch of, okay, something's off here, because I
Yeah.
should
Yeah.
value myself too.
Mhm. But that's hard to do, right, Miranda? It's not like, it sounds to me like it was rough growing up too. So when you don't feel valued young either, because I went through not the same experience, but similar. I was in a domestic violence relationship as well, but I didn't feel any value, but I never got value either from where I was supposed to get it, right? And so when you don't get the value even from like a baby or a child or whatever, it is a difficult journey. It's a but now that we're older, right? And it's a hindsight is always 2020. It makes you realize I wouldn't want it any other way. It really built you. It built you, right? Isn't that cool? Um, and your boys are older now, and you also can impart that in them, and they see the previous, and then they see the now, right? Because even
Mhm.
though they were little, they still get affected by stuff like that. I don't know how little they were, but they get affected, right? So
Def-
how have you been able to help them through that? Like, do they see that in you? Are they into it too? Like, tell me a little bit about that.
well, they're not into it, but I know I'm really here to help shift and heal people from their patterns for their sake.
I love that.
Um,
Mhm.
so I actually sat down and had conversations with them and said, okay,
Good.
guys, you saw this, maybe you don't remember it, but if you ever, because one's married now,
Mhm.
I'm like, if you ever feel like you want to be abusive, just know, don't hide it. Nothing's wrong with you. You saw this, you witnessed this.
Yeah.
So talk about it, bring it out. It doesn't mean anything's wrong with you because you experienced this. And he was just like, I was so proud. He was like, well, awareness is key. And I was like, yeah.
I love that. Don't you love that? It's like those little winks, from the universe. Like, you got this. You did good. You did good. So tell me about how you got into the human design, because I didn't know much about it, to be honest with you. I just kind of bumped into it maybe in the last, I want to say about 6 to 8 months. I work with a coach, and she's a personal brand design coach. She's amazing. And she gives as a gift to her clients a human design reading. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be all woo woo. I don't really want to do this. I said, well, I'm going to just do this because she asked and she's paying for it and she's giving it to us as a gift. It was so freaking cool. It was so cool. And it made me realize, like, areas in my life where I need to be more aware, like be more aware that you let too much information come in and you consider too many things. Like, be more aware that you might be pulled to the left and to the right too many times. Like, it was really, I found it very fascinating. So I really do want you to, if you can, for those who are listening and don't know what it is, or are, kind of like, what are they talking about? I really want you to explain that a little bit if you can.
Yeah, there's so many ways I can explain it. So the first thing I want to say is I'm sure everyone has done a personality test before.
Mm-hmm.
This is not one of those, I will say. I have done those personality tests before, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? I can just manipulate it to say what I want. It's some of this is conditioning because of my experiences, and this is how I believe. So the difference with human design is it actually is a blueprint of your energy and at the time of your birth. So basically, you have this same energy that you had at the time of your birth, all the conditioning, all the experiences, all the beliefs, all the stuff that happens during your life happens for you. But then if you go back to this chart and you see, oh, I actually like what you were talking about. You must have an open head and ajna.
Yes.
I have an open head and
That's what it's called.
Yeah, because it's like an open head and ajna. There's ideas all the time. It doesn't mean they're your ideas to do. It means you receive those ideas and you wait for your strategy. So it really gives you clarity on what energy is yours, what energy is not yours, what energy you take in from other people. And then with that awareness, you can let go of the conditioning of certain things that you believed yourself to be. I'm going to say maybe the ajna. I have the ajna totally open, no gates. I have a hard time remembering stuff. And I used to think I'm so stupid. Like, why do I have to write everything down and memorize everything and then do the test and then it's gone?
Me too.
It's the open ajna. The ajna, you're constantly having things coming in and out. It's hard for you to do that. So that was a huge gift, because then it's like, no, I'm not stupid. It's not that I might have a bad memory.
Yeah. Right? That was so enlightening for me as well, because I'm like, oh my gosh, is that what that is? Like, it's crazy to me. And, the same thing with the ideas. I am an entrepreneur at heart. So I'm always thinking of things, always thinking of like how to, I'm really good at leading people, like things like, so I'm always thinking of a way to strategize to make things better, which is, a gift. It is a gift. It is a gift. Also, what I realized when she was giving me the reading, and she's like, you can't be like anybody else. You just have to show up. You just have to be you. Stop trying to have this program that sounds like this person, and I'm like, oh my God. Right. It was just so good, Miranda. So I know that the work you're doing is helping a lot of people. So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about how is it that you do, work with a client, like, right? So I believe that when I was introducing you, we talked about leadership, right? So tell me what it is that you do. What is it exactly that you do, and how do you help that person?
Well, human design is really wonderful. It's a lot of information, and there's many, many layers of it. So the thing is a lot of people they want to know all the info, but then they haven't done any of the internal releasing or the deconditioning. So there is the importance of deconditioning. So deconditioning, I will say, before I found human design, I had done intensive yoga for 6 years, deconditioning. So it's about, first I work with deconditioning. Where are you conditioned the most? So I look at the centers and see where's the open centers. And then I ask certain questions on where are you conditioned the most? Where do you feel loved? Do you know, all of those things. So we work on conditioning and deconditioning always. Then I go into aspects of the type and strategy. How is the best way that you make decisions so that you're not wasting your energy? And what type are you? Because types have different energies, right? So how can you not burn yourself out? How can you be seen? How can you be heard? What's activated in your throat? There's so many layers of that. And then I also go into some of the gene keys, which is more of a subtle layer, and that goes into the prosperity aspect and how you experience prosperity, because everyone actually experiences prosperity at a differently. I experience prosperity through line 4, which is all about love, service. And for a person that grew up that loved no one, trusted no one, like that is a huge shift. But that's where I thrive. So everyone has their unique lessons, the unique energy that you put out, the unique things that ground you, things that you need support in. So within the chart, we go through all of that. We see, who are you authentically? Right? And then how can you let go of some of those things that you don't like, that you have to do? You don't have to do them. How can you do that? And then how can we help you step more boldly into who you are so that you can create more impact and be out in the world the way that you want to be out in the world?
Right, right. I mean, I want to hear about, like, if you can think of a scenario with yourself or a client where you were like, holy Toledo, this works, right? Like, this was a moment. Do you have something like that where it impacted you in that way?
So much. There's so
Yeah.
I can't.
I figured, because you said there was so many layers. I figured there's a lot of moments, right? Like when people say to me, "When did you change?" It wasn't a moment. It was an actual journey, you know? So I'm just wondering if there's like something that comes to you, like, yeah, when I realized X, that's when I exploded, or when my client did. Do you have something like that?
Yeah. I can go into the chart. Well, I had a client that's a manifester. They didn't know that they were a manifester. They would get down on themselves all the time because they were tired. They'd have these brilliant ideas and have all this energy, and then all of a sudden they'd crash and they don't want to do it. So they never followed through. So they always got upset with themselves.
You read my chart or something? What is wrong with you, woman? I didn't even send you my chart. What are you doing?
Oh, that's so funny. Well, I'm very intuitive.
Apparently, we just met. Stop reading my chart.
That's so funny. Yeah, so a manifestor, and then the biggest, like, I've had numerous manifestors that are like, I could take a nap during the day and not feel bad about it.
God. Yes, I said the same thing. Oh my God. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so there's just those little things
Yeah.
that such big impact, because then you can love yourself. Like,
Yeah.
take a nap, big deal.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But when you are conditioned differently, like you talked about deconditioning, conditioned, I am a hyperachiever at all levels, right? Everything has to happen. We have to do 25,000 things. This is what we got to do. And when she read mine, and she said the same thing, like, you're a manifester, like, you really, and you're gonna have high energy, and this is what happens, and da da da. And she told me the same thing. She said, "Do you take naps?" I said, "Absolutely not. Naps for what? Who has time?" And she's like, "Yeah, you need to take a nap." And I started laughing. I said, "Well, my naps turn into sleep. So I sleep for like 4 hours. It's not a nap, Yeah. But it's really interesting that you said that, because I mean, I gotta tell you, I mean, like I said, I never heard of it before. So it really is helping me as I keep reading, because there's a lot to it. I mean, like, she gave me like so many pages in this report. I'm still trying to learn a lot about it. But one of the things I realize is that I'm much wiser now with my decision making, where before she was completely right. I mean, it was a completely open head, and was like, really grabbing onto a lot of things that were being given to me as information, as if, oh, I can implement that and that and that and that and that. And then I realized, actually, you could say no. You could try. Let's try that. So I started to say, nope, sorry, don't have the bandwidth. I won't be doing that. And that's that. And I'm good at saying no, but when it came to business ideas or thoughts, I thought I had to try them all. Right. So I think that what you're doing is going to really help people, like, align themselves to what it is they're supposed to be doing instead of what they're conditioned to do. That's powerful. That's good stuff.
Yeah, and it's more so what they're supposed to be doing, but what feels good to them. Like, when we and I tell this to everyone I work with, like, everyone starts their career or their entrepreneurship and they're thinking, okay, I'm going to do all the things until I make it to here. That is not the way to live your life, because you never make it to this as soon as you're there, you're going to want something more. So I always tell everybody, start living like you're there now.
Right.
Do
That's
that
good.
now. Right.
Right.
So you're
That's
living
good.
in the present moment.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it is a cliche. And I know everyone rolls their eyes like life is a journey and everything's a journey. But
It's true though.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's a saying for a reason, right? It's a saying for a reason. So tell me about that journey anyway with someone who wants to work with you, right? So I have a lot of leaders and entrepreneurs that listen to this show, right? Because I bring on leaders that love to lead and to, help people really create impact. That's what I like to do. So tell me a little bit about that journey. That's right. So tell me a little bit about that journey with someone who is listening and be like, you know what, I want human design, or I want to know what this is about. What does that journey look like to work with you?
Well, there's a couple ways to get started. I do offer a free chart. So if you want to do your chart, I run your chart and I get you your chart so you see what it is. There's a video included so you understand what it means. There's a little action step there and some information. And then after that, there's a couple ways. You could either do a foundational reading just to see what it's about. If you want to dip your toe in and do like 3 readings, what you could do is do like a deconditioning aspect where I see where you're conditioned. Then we go into like the prosperity aspect in your chart. And then we add a little bit of the gene keys in there to see what is it that you feel most prosperous. So that way you have a good feeling of, okay, where am I struggling with my deconditioning, conditioning? What can I use in my chart in a way that's strength, and where do I need support? And what do I need to feel prosperous? Because then you can add those all in. Then for those that want to go deeper, I work with them one-on-one in a deeper level where we do deconditioning together and practices to get together and going deeper into your business and aligning your business with that.
That's
so
great.
On where you're at, what you're up for, basically, where you're at and what you're up for.
So people can call you whether they're in a business or not. Like, it sounds like you can do it both ways, right?
Yeah. And actually, I do have a sister company with Annalena Fuchs. We have the Aligned Living Academy, and we actually even have a human design certification for coaches and people that bring it into their business if they want to learn how to use it in their business. So we have that certification.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Oh, that's good to know, because I might want to dip my toe into that eventually too, because I really think it helped me a lot. And that was just, her giving me my chart, and just that information alone really has helped me make decisions, right? Like really strategic decisions. And I didn't even get to like the conditioning and the deconditioning and all that. So you're taking it more levels, deeper for that person, which is really amazing. And I think with everything that we've gone through in the last few years, I think everyone went into the stuck mode, into this place where a lot of people don't know who they are, Miranda, and they don't know where they're going, and they don't know what they're supposed to create, and they don't know how to have impact, and they're just struggling. There's a lot of people just struggling. And to your point, because we are also beating ourselves up for who we really are, right? Maybe right, exactly. Like maybe we're not the forgetful person all the time, just because we think we're stupid or whatever that is, right? Because I used to beat myself up about that all the time, and I was overwhelmed by it. Actually, I was like, I am such an intelligent woman, like what is happening with me? Then I'm like, am I getting early onset Alzheimer's? Like, what is my problem, right? Because it was bothering me. I know I have a little bit of ADHD as well, because I'm very hyper. I look at things very differently. I love that I have that, if that's a thing, right? Which I don't always think that's a thing either. I think that's just who you are, and people have to label you with something, which I guess goes to your conditioning part. Right? I'm just talking in circles. I'm going right back to what you said in the beginning. That's awesome. That is so great. So do you want to tell us a little bit about the certification, or is that something you can talk about? Or
yeah, we have the Aligned Living Academy. It's a certification, and it's a 4-month certification that has like bi-weekly calls and content that goes out every month or every other week. We're in our 4th cohort that's actually launching on May 20th. So we have that starting up, and every single person that has gone through it has started readings probably midway through at least, which is 2 months in. So we're very confident in what we support you in that. And everyone, we have someone doing it in corporate, we have coaches, like different types of coaches that are doing it. And another aspect of that is we also do it as far as that you get to learn about yourself too. So you get a workbook for learning all the things, but you also get to learn about yourself. So we do that as well. So it's a yes and with that.
Right. And you know what's good about that too is it helps you to really align yourself with who you want to work with too, right? Because then you know you don't have to take everybody on. You can take the people that you're going to be able to work with and aligned with, right? Because I think that's one of the things as I'm a coach, right? So I think that's one of the things we struggle with the most as coaches when we're first starting our businesses is we think we have to work with everybody or we don't want to, like niche it down, if you will. And then we realize it's more draining than it is serving, right? Us. So I like that you're doing all of that. I mean, that sounds really amazing. And I hope that, those who are listening are super curious because I know I was. And I know that I also like the idea of the certification process too, because I mean, what a better way to create impact, right? Is to help people like really align with who they really are. Cause it's sad to me that, so many people aren't and that so many people also can't seem to find the right person to help them with that either, to navigate that. So kudos to you, Miranda.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And you're right about the impacts.
Yeah.
Before I knew my chart, I was very shy. I was staying small. I didn't need anything. I was like all good. I was safe. And then when I dove into my chart and my North Node and blah, 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 I realized, oh, I'm actually here to make global impact. So how am I going to do that? I can't do that I can do that by working one-on-one, but how can I do that at a bigger level? And
Yeah.
then we got together with the Aligned Living Academy. And that's our goal is because we feel like if everyone knew human design for their own personal stuff and their kids, for their kids,
Yeah. I hear about that for the kids. Yeah.
it will change humanity. It will change the way that we live. It will change the way that we work. It will change the way that we support one another. It will change the way that we take care of the earth. It'll change everything.
Right. Wow. And that's a big statement. That's huge. That's huge. Go ahead, girl. Close out the show with a big ass statement. Okay, I got you. All right, Miranda. So I want everybody to know how to work with you. So let's get all that nitty gritty, right? So your website, if you want to talk about the certification website, if you want to do that, but let us know how we can contact you, work with you, even because I love the fact that you also said you can do at least the chart for free, right? So those of you who are listening right now, if Miranda's offering to do the chart for free, I'm telling you, because I did it, it is worth it. It is worth it. So
wait,
why don't you
wait.
start there?
Run your chart. I run your chart and send you info, but I don't do a call.
Right. No, that's fine. Yeah. But you run it, right? And at least it gives people like a little bit of an eye opener to say, oh, hold on a second. Yeah, I never thought of that. I never thought the day that I was born, the time that I was born, like all of that matters. I don't know. To me, it was very fascinating. So give us that information.
Wonderful. Yes. So you can go to Miranda dash or hyphen, whatever you want to call it, Mitchell.com. And on there, you can click there. You enter in your birth date, birth time, and birthplace. The time is important. So make sure you have the time. So look for it. Then I actually do run the chart because accuracy is important. So I run the chart, send it your way with a video that is on your type. So you understand what it means, the strategy, how to implement it. And I give you an action step. And then from there, you can, after you implement and look and feel into it, because with emotional authorities too, I try not to stress. Like I am not all about scarcity at all. Like it has to feel good to you. So if it feels good to you and you want to know more, then there's the option to do either the foundational reading, the 3-step, or you can have a call with me and we can talk about it to see which one best feels good to you. And if you're a coach, definitely go to the Aligned Living Academy because that's where we have the information. And we have a wait list right now for the next cohort that starts in
That's
May.
awesome. Good for you. I'm glad you did that. And I'm glad you're doing, that you're impacting the world in this way. And also taking it a step further and, helping others impact the world, right? It's kind of like that saying of, you can give somebody a fish or show them how to fish, right? And they can eat for life. So thank you for being here, Miranda. You are amazing. I love your energy. I love what you're bringing to the table. And I like that you bought something that I don't remember discussing human design on my show just yet. So I think this was going to be a good episode. So thank you so much for being here. And I really, really appreciate your time. Hey guys, thank you so much for listening. You are the best. Okay. I have the best podcasting community ever. I really do. And I appreciate you guys being on here. Make sure you go on to winject.com/register, winject.com/register, and register for my free community, because I want to be really connected with you, and I want us to brainstorm and be with each other and connect in a deeper way. If you are looking for coaching, please make sure that you also email me at hello@straighttalknosugaradded.com. I work with women and I help them develop that business that they are envisioning in their hearts so that they can win. Thank you guys so much for being here. Love you, love you, love you. This is Neena Perez, Straight Talk, No Sugar Added. Until next time.
Dermavant Sciences CEO Todd Zavodnik shares why they're driven to change how chronic skin diseases are treated.
In dermatology, the two largest disease states are psoriasis and atopic dermatitis, known as eczema. And the option that's been available for the last 30, 40, 50 years has been steroidal topical treatment options. And there's so many limitations to that. Our mission is to move that to a non-steroidal once-a-day treatment option.
Visit dermavant.com to learn more.